thought process in starting Cade today?
We knew Griffin only had a certain amount of pitches available, and all those guys that pitched were going to have to pitch at some point today, and it didn't work. It clearly didn't work. I thought Jump completely dominated him the other night, and he's the most liked Jump on our staff. So it was a one-time through the order, maybe 12 hitters type plan, and that's tough to swallow because it's 5 runs with 2 outs in the first inning. And, we kind of had broken through that a little bit, but it was the same thing in terms of getting off the field with 2 outs. And then you couldn't bring Griffin in the middle of the inning there in the first inning because, he had to get warmed up. We had to make sure that was all aligned. So it was a matter of how many bullets that he was going to be able to throw today and then getting him warmed up properly to get in the game.
Did you feel like he was fully ready and raring to go despite throwing 62 pitches on Tuesday?
Yeah, 100%. I think he was available yesterday. Monitored his catch play, passed all the testing and all of that. And like I said, it was a comparison to Jump. We had to win last night. Griffin was not available last night. So, we had to go to Nate, in that same spot, and that's how it worked out.
Was it a debate to have Griffin pitch in the second half of the game or in the first half of the game?
Well, no, it could have been the third inning. It could have been from the 13th hitter of the game for 63 pitches, I think, is what he ended up with. And he was gassed, going into that last inning. So we just didn't have a choice. We couldn't give up more than 5, and they ended up with 7. And I think those other 2 runs were when he was in the game or he was charged for. But, in hindsight, would you love to go back and go hey, we should have just rolled him out there. But in the 4th inning, we're going to somebody, and that hasn't really worked out for our team that well this year.
I know you talked yesterday about, the game should have had to come down to a walk-off situation, spoiling guys in scoring position. Did you feel better about it today?
No, actually, I think over the past 2 weeks we've been much better, which is why we've won games. I think we've been much better. Today it came down to we didn't get off the field with 2 outs in the first inning. Literally there was 2 outs and a man on second base. That's where it was at. And then, the moments in the game, which, when it was hard, against Arkansas and Tennessee on the road, those we'd kind of gotten past that. They kind of became hard again today. The bases loaded. The tying runs on second, the go-ahead run is on first with your 3 best hitters coming to the plate. So credit them for getting out of it with 1 run. Excuse me, the tying run was on first base. Sorry.
Yeah, outside of Ashton, it seemed like those top 5, the lineup really struggled today. What do you kind of chalk that up to?
Yeah, it's pitching in the SEC. It's hard for me to say. Tommy didn't have a great game, but he's had a lot of great games. So I'm not going to say anything negative about him or Jared or Mac. I'm largely here at LSU because of Mac, playing on a World Series team, and the way we've been able to hang in games is because of Tommy and Jared. So, I just didn't have a great day today.
With the 5 runs with 2 outs in the first inning, a lot of those hits were, kind of fluttered balls or slightly fluky singles like this. Not to make excuses for yourself, but does that just make things just more frustrating given that?
No, it's baseball. It's aluminum bats. It's the SEC. Everybody's strong, and when you don't execute your pitches, you get more of those. And I think Hall stayed on one and hit it the other way. Left on left, which he hadn't done all weekend. So they did a better job today than they did the 2 previous days. And Cade Anderson's a good pitcher, and he's going to be a great pitcher, for us here. Will's been really good. That was a part of the order we wanted him in. And, if you get out of there at 3, it's a lot better off. But, there was no way we were going to be able in the middle of the first inning to get Griffin ready, okay? And we're going to make sure with all of our pitchers they're doing something they're comfortable with. So it needed to be at the start of an inning. Especially since he was going to go for a little while, and there was definitely a cap today. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's working within all those constraints.
I guess despite the loss, how do you see this team going fundamentally, down the stretch?
Yeah, we've been better. You know, I mean, obviously there was just no margin for error, in that 4-week stretch. And, I mean, we had Florida beat down to the last strike and lost. And so then you're facing Caglione and Hagen-Smith in your next 2 games. And then you're in an extra inning game against Arkansas, and we lost. Man and Aaron, we lost. And then at Tennessee, actually, and Coach Thompson for Auburn said, like, man, you guys played pretty well in that series. Hard place to win, So I think we're getting better, but I think it was more about, those opponents. You have the Vanderbilt series right there. You're 1 strike away from getting out of the 8th and getting to the 9th with a 1-run lead. And so it's tough. It's tough. Early in the year, we were pretty good in close games, and we had a tough stretch against some of those good teams. I think we've kind of worked our way through some of that mentally. Some of it returned a little bit today. And, they still want to win. And, those relievers for them did a good job. They did a really good job.
The way the bottom half of the lineup's been, especially this series, how much closer do you feel like that puts you guys?
On the lineup, I feel like we can score in more innings now. Where it's like, get us back to the top. You know what I mean? And even as great offense as we had last year when you're in Omaha and you're facing great pitching, sometimes they were like, get us back to the top. I don't feel that as well much anymore. Travinsky has capabilities of extra base hits. Braswell's done a nice job. He's really improved as a hitter. And I think everybody can see it. Statistics would show that. Alex did a nice job, and frankly, he's catching now because they're not scoring nearly as much when he's catching. I mean, that's why he's in there, but put together some good ABs. Even in the 9th inning, he smoked a fastball right at the second baseman. Milam hit a homer today. I mean, it's just, this is a steep learning curve, for him. I mean, he's had some successes and some things he's going to continue to learn from.
Jay, despite the outcome today, there's still a path.
Yeah.
There's always the position between the process and the outcome.
Yeah.
What does the process need to look like for you to have it?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I think the path is simple in terms of you have to win on Tuesday. We have to win Tuesday's game. My goal is if we can win those 2, then we'll be 23-3 outside the league. I don't know that there's 5 teams in the country that can say that. We've played a difficult schedule. We've played better, hopefully, by the back half of the year. Playing the number 1 team in the country, it's a great opportunity in terms of opponent winning percentage. And then 2 teams that are kind of like us, that we're probably competing, for a bid with, late in the season. So there's an opportunity to finish strong, all of those things. In terms of the process, I think we're a lot closer. I mean, this is the first weekend where Luke and Gage pitched really well together, and we won a series. And so I think those were the 2 best pitchers in the transfer portal. And, Luke's had a good season. Gage has had a couple really good outings in a row. That's the first part of it probably. Griffin continuing to do what he needs to do. And then, the pitching staff, the rest of the pitching staff just kind of emulate what they've been the last couple weekends, the first inning withstanding today. Offensively, I think it's managing the strike zone. A lot of guys they're sometimes as good as we've always been with it, and sometimes have struggled with it. I think the schedule had something to do with that, but we have to be able to get more base runners and then just cash in when we do. And when, like last night, you get a big 2-out hit from Josh, you win the game. And defensively, I think this was a pretty good series. Unless I'm missing one, nothing was super glaring today. I know we had an errorless game on Friday night. And then stay with it. That's the most important thing. And, not where we want to be, but you wouldn't be able to convince me that they're not still competing and trying to win every game that we play. And that's probably the most important part of that.
How encouraging was the bullpen after Griffin came out of the game?
Well, Christian did a great job. I think that's 3 really good outings in 4 games for him. This is probably his best week of his career, this week, at least at LSU, you know what I mean, in terms of the contribution he made. And I'm really proud of him because he's been a really good team guy, through this thing, and has improved a lot. He's done a good job with Coach Eski. So you start there. Sam Dutton has done a nice job quietly. did a really good job. I was happy for Justin to get him in there. And so I think it was if I'm missing somebody, I apologize, but I feel good about how those guys executed. They gave us a chance. And, I mean, again, you got the bases loaded and your 3 best hitters are up. You know, after a bad first, you know, you like that they did that. And that's about all you can ask for.
Staying with the bullpen, Sam gets that big out on top of the ninth. First guy to greet him was Justin coming out. I mean, talk about the competitive nature of these guys,
Yeah.
being able to hand the ball off. Feels like that's something starting to click here late.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, and I would I would just be if that is not the pitcher doing that came out of the game, they're a bad human. But we have to teach everything. You know what I mean? And Justin's a great teammate. I mean, he is a great teammate, like I just kind of mentioned with Christian. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And you know, we were, you know, toying with, you know, trying to get him through. So if we got into those lefties, he could keep pitching. But once the leadoff guy went on, you have to get, you know, Stanfield with a right-hander, especially with his first 3 at-bats today. Manners is such a good bunter. Sammy's one of our best fielding pitchers. And, you know, we had a way to navigate him. Once they stole, they made it a little easier. I know McMurray had a tough day today, but then you could walk him, and then Sam got right. So, you know, Justin, back to your question, is a good teammate. And, you know, they're getting better. You know, it's a tough one today. You know, we needed the game today. We all know that. But, you know, we're a lot closer to being what we hope to be versus, you know, where we were, you know, a couple weeks ago in Knoxville.
You mentioned last night that, you know, the expectations of this team is also being kind of within the season at this point. I mean, is this kind of what more like baseball is? Is this sport just kind of the
You know,
maybe than compared to last year?
I don't know if I should even answer that question. It's a good question. I just, you know, I don't want that to be misconstrued of anything I say. I can tell you, like, got a locker room of guys that are continuing to compete, continuing to fight. There's improvement. They want to play in the NCAA tournament, you know, worse than anything in the world. They know they have a tough task in front of them, but we have improved. Well, we've won 6 of our last 8. You know, and like I said, I mean, if you finish the non-conference at 23-3, that's a deal. Like, I'm confident in saying that we would be a first-place team in any other league in college baseball right now. This is just completely different, and I feel like I have a unique perspective on that from the places that I've coached. You know, you'll see 6 teams, 5 to 6 teams from our league will be in Omaha this year. Hopefully, we have a chance to be one of them.
You said earlier this week that, you know, some of the guys on the team haven't had to face a lot of adversity last season, just how great they were. But this season, they do have to face that, and you kind of have to figure it out. Do you think having to figure it out and face all this stuff is going to help them?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, we've had plenty now. I mean, and the response to it has been good. You know what I mean? And that's important, you know, to me and to what we're continuing to try to do with the program. We know where we need to be and want to be, and, you know, being in that top group in the teams as we have been. But yeah, I think the reality check is more than there. And when I say that, it's not like they didn't come into the season confident, prepared. We just tough stretch, you know, and, you know, we let a couple get away. You know, if you literally just turn the Florida and Vanderbilt game at home, we're talking about an entirely different situation right now. And it's not, so we just got to keep pressing forward.
Offensively, what's been the most disappointing part of this weekend?
Yesterday, I would just say our plate discipline got way away from us, like in a way I haven't seen in a long time. So you probably start there because that's the hallmark of the whole thing. You know, and then today, I mean, I don't have a great answer other than, you know, we didn't win those tipping point, you know, or inflection point moments, and that's not for a lack of effort or, you know, any of those types of things. I mean, I don't think that pitch to Jared was a strike, and hey, you got to battle with 2 strikes. So I'm always gonna, like, that's part of who we are, but that's the wrong guy at the wrong time to, you know, get one that didn't go our way. You want that guy to have all 3 chances to swing, especially when he's a tying run at the plate. And, you know, they're feeling pressure in the game for the first time probably, you know, and probably for the first time.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.